Welcome to your friendly neighborhood historian, where we discuss just enough history to inform, intrigue, and entertain. I'm Bill Petro. The history of Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day comes from Candlemas Day, observed for 1,500 years in parts of Europe on February 2nd. The custom was for the clergy to bless candles, representing how long winter would be, and distribute them to the people. Was there a connection to a pagan holiday? The pagan celebration of Imbolc, the feast of the goddess Bridget, especially in Ireland, is observed by modern pagans to mark the beginning of spring. In Christian Ireland, it's St. Bridget's Day. She was the abbess of Kildare and the patron of midwives. This cross-quarter day comes at the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. The Roman legions, it is said, initially brought the tradition to the Germans. What is the Feast of the Presentation of the Lord? Candlemas is 40 days after Christmas, the birth of Jesus Christ. In the second chapter of his Gospel, Luke records that Jesus was brought to the temple in Jerusalem to present him to the Lord, as is required for the firstborn son by the Jewish law of Moses. The feast was called the Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin in the Roman Catholic Church, at least until the Second Vatican Council. In the Eastern or Greek Orthodox Church, however, it is known as the Meeting of the Lord, referring to when Jesus met with old Simeon and Anna, also mentioned in Luke chapter 2, verses 25 through 38. Both Simeon and Anna rejoiced to see the Messiah in their lifetimes. Simeon took the baby Jesus in his arms, blessed God, and said, "Lord, now you are letting your servant depart in peace, according to your word, for my eyes have seen your salvation, that you have prepared in the presence of all peoples a light of revelation to the Gentiles, for glory to your people Israel." In AD 542, this feast was established throughout the entire East Roman Empire by the Emperor Justinian. The Western Church introduced it under Pope Sergius I in the late 7th century. How does all of this fit into the church calendar? Advent begins with the 4 Sundays before Christmas Day and ends on Christmas Eve. Christmas extends 12 days between Christmas Day and Epiphany on January the 6th. Epiphany ends on Candlemas Day, February the 2nd. By the way, if you haven't yet taken down your Christmas decorations, you may, without fear of ridicule. What is Candlemas? Blessing beeswax candles once a year for the whole year became common in the 11th century. This practice was a reference to Simeon's prophecy that Jesus would be the light for revelation to the Gentiles, from the Gospel of Luke chapter 2. In more modern times, says the old Scottish couplet, "If Candlemas Day is bright and clear, there'll be 2 winters in the year. If Candlemas brings cloud and rain, go winter and come not again." How do we know whether the weather will change? In Hungary, there's an old folk tale that if a bear comes out of hibernation on Candlemas and sees his shadow because the sun is out, the bear will return to hibernation due to the cold. If clouds are in the sky, winter is almost over. Today, Hungarian zoos are still watched for bears predicting the coming of spring. In Germany, when bears became scarce, the weather predictor became the badger. Since medieval times, German farmers have based their weather prediction on whether the badger would see a shadow on Candlemas. When Germans immigrated to Pennsylvania in the United States, badgers were not as plentiful as they were back in Germany. By the 1840s, the following idea caught on amongst German immigrants. Their folk traditions now had people looking for hedgehogs for their shadows on a sunny day. Where do we get modern Groundhog Day? In 1886, the editor of the Puxatawny Spirit newspaper in Pennsylvania dubbed the day Groundhog Day. If the groundhog sees his shadow on a bright and clear day, 6 more weeks of winter are ahead. Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, is the headquarters of the celebration, where the groundhog named Puxatawny Phil regards his shadow at Gobbler's Knob, a wooded knoll just outside the town. And the actor Bill Murray visited the location, as you'll recall, repeatedly in his movie Groundhog Day. Tens of thousands have gathered annually at Gobbler's Knob for this event. Happy Groundhog Day. Thank you for listening. I'm Bill Petro, your friendly neighborhood historian. You can find more details on this topic and others on my website at billpetro.com.